if you've ever, cracked open a parenting book or scrolled through a blog or honestly just been near a child in the last 50 years, you've heard of the Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah.
It's that one piece of parenting science that feels like it's carved into stone tablets.
You're talking about the 4 parenting styles.
Exactly. The big 4. You've got authoritarian, that's the, because I said so, drill sergeant. Then there's permissive, the cool parent, maybe a bit of a pushover.
No rules.
No rules.
Yeah.
You've got neglectful, which, well, obviously you avoid that one. And then the golden child, the undisputed heavyweight champion, authoritative parenting.
High warmth, high structure, the perfect balance.
Right, the secret sauce. And it's treated as just settled science. If you want a successful kid, you do authoritative. If you don't, you're rolling the dice with their future. End of story.
That has absolutely been the consensus for decades. But today, we're doing something a little dangerous. We're going to take a sledgehammer to those stone tablets.
We are. We're diving into this really fascinating and frankly kind of rigorous article by Ryan Collison from Money Sex Nerd. The title alone makes you stop and think. The 4 parenting styles were built for a world that no longer exists.
It's a provocative title, but the argument inside is incredibly grounding. Collison isn't saying the original science was bad.
No, not at all.
He's saying it was a product of its time, specifically 1966.
1966.
That's when Diana Baumrind published the research that gave us this whole framework. And Collison's core idea is that the world she studied, the economy, the society, the path to being an adult, it's gone. It's vanished.
So the advice isn't wrong in a vacuum. It's just
dangerously dated because it's optimizing for a reality that our kids will never, ever live in.
So our mission today is to unpack all of this. We're going to look at the hidden assumptions in this 60-year-old research, see why they're crumbling, and then try to figure out if the old map is garbage, how do we even navigate?
It's about parenting for uncertainty, not for a certainty that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, so let's set the scene. I want to time travel for a second. It's 1966. What does the world actually look like? Because I think we forget how different the defaults were.
Oh, it's drastically different. I mean, in Baumrind's study, you're looking at families where very often one parent stayed home. That's a huge economic stabilizer most people just don't have now.
And a high school diploma.
It was a ticket to a decent living. Seriously, you could buy a house on a factory wage.
And success itself.
Yeah.
It meant something very specific, very static.
Right. It meant getting a stable job at one company, showing up on time, and just staying there for 40 years until you got your gold watch.
The gold watch career path.
It
feels like a myth now.
But back then, the path was legible. You could look at a 6-year-old and basically sketch out their life. School, job, marriage, house, a straight line.
And legibility is such a key word here. If the path is legible, you know what you're preparing them for. You have the curriculum.
Precisely. And that gave parents confidence. They knew the rules of the game. Now, contrast that with your reality today. Gig economy, AI, degrees that cost a fortune but guarantee nothing.
Both parents working just to stay afloat.
And the source makes this great point that the gap between that 1966 world and our world, that's exactly where parenting anxiety lives.
Yes. We're anxious because the playbook doesn't match the game we're in.
We feel like we're failing, but we can't put our finger on why. Collison breaks it down to these 3 hidden assumptions in Baumrind's model, and once you see them, it all starts to make sense.
Okay, let's hit the first one. This is the prediction problem.
Right. Assumption number 1, parents can predict what skills their children will need to succeed.
Which, again, in 1966, that was a pretty fair assumption.
It was reasonable. If you were a dad in 66 working at GM, that job would probably still exist when your son grew up. The skills that made you successful, following instructions, climbing a ladder, respecting authority, those were evergreen skills.
But now, I have no idea what my job will look like in 5 years, let alone my kid's job in 15.
Exactly. Collison points out that the job your kid will have might not even exist yet, the skills they need. We might not even have names for them.
So the whole preparation model of parenting just falls apart.
It does, because it assumes you know the destination.
There's a line in the article that really, really stuck with me. It says, when the destination is unknown, preparation becomes guesswork dressed as confidence.
Ooh.
That's a heavy one.
It stings, right?
Yeah.
Guesswork dressed as confidence. Because that's what it feels like. We're pretending we know that coding or Mandarin is the answer, but we're guessing.
We're projecting our own anxiety about the past onto their future. And that leads us right into the second hidden assumption, which is all about power. Assumption number 2. Parental authority is the primary socializing force.
This is the idea that, the parent is the sun and the child is the planet orbiting them. Exactly. For Baumrind, it was clean causality. Parent gives warmth and control, child produces an outcome, a closed loop. But Collison says today we're dealing with a totally new topology of influence.
Topology of influence. I like that phrase. What does that mean in practice?
It means the map of who influences your kid has completely changed shape. You are no longer the only voice in their head. You might not even be the loudest.
Not by a long shot.
Your child has the entire world in their pocket. They have Discord servers, social media feeds, parasocial relationships with creators you've never even heard of.
It's so true. A kid in 1966 heard from their parents, their teacher, maybe the kids on the block. A kid today hears from a YouTuber in Sweden and a mod on a gaming server.
And an algorithm that knows them better than they know themselves.
Right.
And here's the key distinction Collison makes. Saying this out loud isn't abdication. It's not giving up. It's just recognizing reality. You're not the soloist anymore. You're one voice in a very loud chorus.
That's a tough pill to swallow, though. We want to be the main character.
We're still important, but the way we influence is different. Which brings us to the third assumption, and this one may be the most controversial.
Okay.
Assumption 3. We all agree on what a good outcome is.
Let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Because surely we do agree. Good grades, polite, social, stays out of trouble. That's a good outcome, isn't it?
Is it? Or are those just the metrics for success in an industrial economy? Baumrind measured things like academic achievement and behavioral conformity. Those mattered when success meant fitting neatly into a rigid institution.
I see where you're going. If the world isn't rigid anymore, maybe fitting in isn't the superpower we think it is.
Exactly. Collison asked some really hard questions here, like, does academic achievement matter more than learning agility, the ability to learn something new, dump it, and learn something else?
Or does social competence, face-to-face, matter more than managing a huge network of online connections?
Right. So that kid who's always on their phone,
Mm-hmm.
we see it as antisocial, a waste of time. But what if it's actually high-level network management? And here's the real kicker from the article. Collison suggests that what we label as behavioral problems might actually be adaptive responses.
Whoa. Say more about that. Adaptive responses.
Well, look at it from an evolutionary lens.
Mm-hmm.
A child who questions rules or refuses to do rote work. In 1966, that's a problem. That kid won't fit into the office.
Sure.
But in 2026, a refusal to accept arbitrary rules might be exactly what makes them a successful entrepreneur. They're adapting to a world that rewards disruption, even if we're still trying to reward conformity.
So we're punishing them for having the exact software they need for the future just because it doesn't run on our old operating system.
Precisely. We call them difficult when they might just be optimized.
And this leads to the part of the article that I found the most liberating, honestly. Reevaluating the styles themselves.
Well,
Because once you see the assumptions are broken, the whole hierarchy just collapses.
It really does. Let's look at them through this new lens.
Okay, authoritarian. High control, low warmth. The drill sergeant.
This style is 100% dependent on the parent's map being right. It's do what I say, I know the path. But if your map is outdated...
You're just efficiently marching your child off a cliff.
Exactly. You're forcing them to be the perfect 1966 employee in a 2026 world. High efficiency failure.
Okay, what about the golden child? Authoritative, high control, high warmth.
This one hurts to critique. Authoritative parenting is all about explaining the rules warmly. But, and Collison hits us with this amazing metaphor, warmly enforcing the wrong map still gets you lost.
Oof, that's such a good image. You can be the nicest, most communicative guide in the world, but if the destination doesn't exist anymore...
You are still lost.
Yeah.
Being nice about the bad directions doesn't change a thing.
Which brings us to the surprise underdog. Permissive parenting.
The one everyone blames for society's problem.
Right. Low control, high warmth. The pushover.
It's always criticized for lacking boundaries.
Yeah.
But Collison says, wait a minute. In a world that's uncertain terrain, maybe exploration is better than instruction.
So letting them figure it out, even if it's messy, might actually be a better strategy.
It's a strategy of high variance, for sure. But it gives the child space to probe the environment, to fail, to find their own way. In a chaotic world, that adaptability might be more valuable than following a perfect path that leads nowhere.
It's almost evolutionary. The permissive approach allows for mutation and adaptation. The authoritative approach just tries to clone the parent's success.
And clones don't survive when the environment changes. Mutants do.
That is a radical thought. We might need to be raising mutants. So if this map is so clearly outdated, why are we all still clinging to it?
Because of that anxiety we talked about. Parenting is terrifying. There's no manual, no real feedback loop.
Right, you don't know if you did a good job for 20 years.
Exactly. So the framework gives you something to do. It gives you a target. Am I being authoritative today? Feels good. The problem, as the source notes, is when we confuse the map with the territory.
Classic mental model.
We get so obsessed with following the map, being authoritative, that we stop looking at the actual child right in front of us, the territory. We ignore their world because it doesn't fit our framework.
Okay, so we've torn it all down. The map is from 1966. What do we do now? The article offers a new playbook, right?
It does, and the whole shift is from preparing for a specific destination to just navigating uncertainty.
Let's hit the takeaways. Number 1, hold models loosely.
This is all about intellectual humility. You have to admit to yourself, and maybe even your kid, that you just don't know what the world will reward in 20 years. Stop pretending you have a crystal ball.
That takes so much pressure off, doesn't it? You don't have to be the oracle.
It's incredibly liberating. It changes the dynamic from I am the expert teaching you to we are explorers figuring this out together.
Which opens the door for takeaway number 2. Watch what works.
Yeah, this goes back to the whole behavioral problems versus adaptation idea.
Right. So instead of judging their behavior against a 1966 standard, just observe it. What are they actually doing?
Collison says, your kids' adaptation strategies might be smarter than they look. The fact that you don't understand them doesn't mean they're broken.
That requires so much trust. It means looking at your kid playing Minecraft for 4 hours and asking, what skill is being built here, instead of just screaming about screen time.
Exactly. They might be learning resource management, collaboration, server administration, skills for the digital economy. If you just ban it, you might be killing the very thing they need.
Okay, which leads to takeaway number 3, capacity over destination. This is my favorite one. It feels the most actionable.
It's the core of the new strategy. Since you can't prep them for a specific destination, you build their capacity to handle any destination.
You don't teach them the route. You build the engine.
That's it. You focus on meta skills. Resilience, emotional regulation, learning how to learn. Those are the engines that work on any road, and the road is going to change a lot.
I love that. Build the engine, don't pick the road. And finally, takeaway number 4, contextual authority.
This one's tough on the ego.
This implies it sometimes. The parent isn't the boss.
It implies authority is based on expertise, not just hierarchy. Look, in some areas, ethics, kindness, how to change a tire, you, the parent, know more, you have authority. But in other areas, tech, digital culture, the new economy, your child might genuinely know more than you do.
So when they're trying to explain a digital wallet or a new platform, you don't just shut it down because you don't get it.
You listen. You recognize that in that context, they are the guide. It flips the dynamic. It respects their competence. And that builds trust that lasts way longer than because I said so.
It seems like the whole message here is really about agility. The old model was rigid, strong, but rigid. The new model has to be fluid.
Baumrein gave us a useful framework for a world that's receding into the past. It worked. But we can't keep using a landline strategy in a smartphone world. We have to be willing to write a new map in real time with our kids.
It's scary, but it's also kind of exciting. It means we get to discover the future with them, not just dictate it to them.
And that connection, that shared discovery, is probably worth more than any parenting style label ever was. That relationship is the real safety net.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a final thought from the source to chew on. We spend so much energy trying to prep kids for a world that is already gone.
We do. We exhaust ourselves.
So the question to ask yourself tonight is this. If you stop trying to predict the future, what does a framework for uncertainty actually look like in your house? What would you do differently right now if you just admitted you don't know where the destination is?
That's the question.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.